Think like a consumer. No one really cares about your sale yesterday, but they care about the story of what happened, And I would say, think of yourself watching a Matt Damon movie and he picks up an iPhone. You're that product placement in the movie. You just happen to be in the story. And if you do it that way, if you pretend someone is Googling you, which they will every time, and see what shows up. And if it doesn't show that you're authentic, that you should share some failures, and that you also are decent at your job, then you're doing it wrong.
All right, welcome to that episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, guys.
And we have a very special guest. Today, we have someone all the way from Miami. I'm sure the weather's probably really nice in Miami. Compass. And man, this guy's done 95.4% listings sold in the past 17 years. We have Amit, Butha on the show. Welcome to Real Estate vs. Tech. Did I do a good job in your name?
You did an amazing job.
All right.
Thanks. It's awesome to be here today.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time, as we know that you're a busy individual is our intention here at Real Estate vs. Tech. So our listeners and viewers can kind of understand who you are, what you're doing, technology you're using, so they can then have some support as they grow their real estate businesses. So let's go ahead and deep dive into your business. So how long you've been in the business, what made you get in the business, areas you serve, kind of give us your backstory to where you're at today.
Yeah, so this is my 17th year in real estate. Prior to that, I went to college and I did finance. Since I'm older, I'm 51, and yeah, I'm an old dude.
You look amazing.
Thanks. Zoom helps a lot, I guess. But so back then, when I went to college, I wanted to be a stockbroker getting out of college. But stockbrokers don't really exist so much. It's like a financial manager or whatever, wealth manager. So after college, I was in the car business. Pretty weird. I did that for 11 years. I got burnt out. I did it for a long time. I was working 80 hours a week. And like most other agents, I wanted to get to real estate because I could make money and I could work better hours. So yeah, that's why I got into it.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, good for you. Actually, I sold for 3.5 years, sold some cars as well. And after the shin splints and a new general manager, I was like, no, not interested anymore. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye. And I gave up that industry pretty quick. So kudos to you for how long you actually stayed in the industry from a stockbroker. Who would have thought?
That's
so you're
amazing where people come from.
Right? So you're in Miami. So what specific areas do you serve there in Miami?
So Miami and Miami Beach.
Nice.
Those are nice areas.
Very nice areas. I got to say, that's awesome. So getting a little bit more into your business specifically, past 12 months, give us some context as far as buy side, sell side transaction volume. What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So last year we did 73 transactions. We're a small team. There are 2 other agents besides myself. We recently hired 2 new agents, so they're yet to perform. And so I think our average price point was just about 1.2 million. And we do about 80% luxury, 20%, everything.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome. Good for you. Great price point. I mean, that's a good amount of listings to have a nice, comfortable life and support your friends, your family, your loved ones, whoever, different charities, who knows who you're serving in your life. So would love to understand, is your business made up anything in particular, specifically buy side, sell side for transaction volume? Do you serve kind of the gamut? Like, is it 50-50? Like, what makes up your business on buy side, sell side that work?
Yeah. So let me go back a step a little bit. So after about 10 or 11 years, I hated my job. I was a single agent. Okay. I did probably 90% buyers, and I did about $200,000 to $300,000 homes. Every once in a while, I'd sell an expensive one. And it would be like a Sunday night. I would be thinking about Monday, and I'd be like, oh man, I don't want to call a FISBO or an expired. I was decent at it, but I didn't want to bother people. So then I learned about like social media and all that, and I guess we'll probably get into that later. And now the majority of the people that work with us, probably about 95% of the people, are people who we don't know that know us, and they call us, and the call is so much different. It's like, we know who you guys are. You probably don't know us. Would you like to work with us? Compared to in the past where we're begging people to work with us.
You've created the market share and the demand gen that we always talk about in the show. That's every agent needs to build that authority, and then the business will come to you. You get to pick who your clients are versus trying to chase down the clients that you want to work with. It's awesome.
Yeah, we feel really fortunate about that.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
50,000 followers later, you're doing a great job on your Instagram. Links down below. You can go ahead and follow the man. So kudos to you. That's amazing. So is it social media? Like, what separates you then? What makes you unique, different in the Miami area that you serve?
That's a great question. So like, I think of things in numbers. Okay. So I think like, no matter how good we are at real estate, if we just create numbers and just talk about real estate, it's not going to do well. And before I get into the three things, there are two lessons that I learned. And the more I talk about real estate, the less business I'll get. And the more I talk about my successes, the less business I'll get. The more I talk about my family, the things I like to do. I love collecting sports cards, like basketball cards. I invest in those, football cards and stuff like that. I've had 7 friends that have committed suicide in my life. So I'm into mental health. I was suicidal. So that's another thing that I talk about. And so like when I share my failures, or our team shares our failures, people identify with us and they want to do business with us. So going back to like what makes us different, it's 3 things. When we do a lot of retargeting. So whether it's an agent or someone else, and for those of you that don't know retargeting, it's like going on Amazon, not buying something, and those socks are following you around. We're the people that follow you around. The problem is most agents do it not the best way. And I'm not saying like that we're awesome, but we do it a different way. Most people will retarget you and tell you, you need to go to my site because you want to search homes, or Compass or Sotheby's or whoever is the best brokerage. No one wants to hear that. What we do is we share 3 different types of posts. One is authenticity, sort of like what I told you about just now. The next thing is we have to have some sort of social proof. So regardless of how much they like us, they have to know that we can sell a damn house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another. So authority, maybe it would be like a post where I did one. I got a $6 million buyer from a YouTube ad a YouTube video I did. I was just on Zoom, and it was 3 huge mistakes buyers are making in Miami in 2021, or 4 mistakes. So that's the social proof. And the last one is a hybrid. So typically what we do is when we advertise in real estate, we make ourselves the hero. We say like the humble brag, I just sold this house. I'm so tired. I did 4 closings today. The real estate market is hot. No one cares about that. But you can do it just sold differently. I'll give you an example. So I had a listing. There was a seller. They lived in their house 47 years. House was 6,000 square feet, but totally outdated. An agent that was a mentor to me didn't sell it after 7 months. Our team got it, and we were sort of lucky, and we did a few things right, and we sold it in 9 days. Instead of like telling the world that we had it just sold or we killed it, what we did is we interviewed the sellers and asked them their journey, and we made them the heroes, and we were just the guide. And that's those 3 things we do, and we retarget those posts to everyone, and they get to know us.
Wow.
We have a client that does that with video testimonials. Just like really engaging video testimonials, all about the client. There's nothing about her in any of it, right? I mean, they're talking about her, but and I think those are we always try to instruct people that those are the best types of ads to run, because people are speaking the truth and their experience with you, and the rest is history. So,
man,
yeah.
Very well articulated, I have to say. I love how you did like the lead up to it. And it really ties into people forget what you said and did, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel. And agents are too much into the $1 million New York, $1 million Los Angeles, look at me, luxury cars, all this type of stuff. But in actuality, we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Like you said, serving, now what you're serving for mental health, what's happening behind the scenes instead of just being transparent, just being open, just being real, because people can relate to that. So they're going to want to work with you and they're going to feel more connected to you. That's amazing. So before we get into the mix-up rounds and I give it off to Dan, last question I have for me, and I kind of like already know the answer on my side, but would love to hear it from you. So from the 17 years, been in the business from the beginning to where you're at now, what is something that you had to really like adapt to then have more success from maybe the traditional way of marketing back in when you first got started to now using technology to really be able to like drive in more business, more exposure? You kind of already said some of these things already, but what's one of the biggest things you adapted to that's served you?
That's a great question. And so I'll give you an example. This is what happened in my life. So I have a sister that's amazing. She's like one of my number one fans. She'll tell everyone about me. I remember I went to my parents' house once, and this is before I knew how to do social media better. I'm not perfect. I want to get better, but this is when I did it the traditional way. So I saw her at my parents' house and she's like, "Hey, I saw your post. I didn't read it, but I liked it." And I was like, man, one of my biggest fans in the world who tells everyone and their mother about me doesn't even want to read the stuff that I post. So if someone is a stranger, there's no way they're going to want to read my stuff. So then I thought, I listened to Gary Vee a lot, and I'm going to be in a conference with him in the near future. So I'm very honored to be about that. But what he always says is we're trying to get people's attention, right? That's what we're vying for. As a salesperson, we sell hope to the buyer, the seller. And as a marketer, we vie for their attention. And I thought about it this way: forget about the person if they're looking to buy a property today. They're scrolling the internet. They're looking at their apps. How can I get their attention? And so I learned using technology, I can retarget them. And when I do a video, I do a podcast, I do a written word post, I have to make it extremely engaging from the first sentence. My goal for the first sentence is for them to listen to the second sentence. So with technology, by retargeting, that's how I've been able to do it, by thinking like a consumer that's not in the market and doing that.
Have you ever read any of the books by David Ogilvy in advertising?
This is embarrassing. I have the book, but I haven't read it. My favorite book for marketing is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, where we are the guide and they are the heroes. And I definitely got to read that book now that you mentioned it. I paid for it, so I might as well listen to it.
Yeah. And I went to school for advertising, and like they just give you like, here's like the 10 books you need to read, like Jack Trout, positioning, David Ogilvy, this. And then that's had the most impact. It's all about that hook, grabbing those people, making sure they stop their car or they stop the scroll. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That's awesome.
Wow. That's amazing. So viewers and listeners out there, like, man, take some notes, write this stuff down. This is amazing. So we're going to go ahead and switch up the camera view. We're going to go ahead and give the floor to Dan. He's going to take it away in the mix out round so we can get into more specific technology that you're using.
Awesome. Thanks, Norman. So this round real quick is like, what's on your tool belt? What are you utilizing? What are your favorite tools? And I have just a set of questions. You don't have to go crazy in depth, but maybe what I'm using and why, that type of thing. Okay. So right now, what's your number one lead source?
I think it's agents. In the last 2+ years, we've received 61 agent referrals.
That's huge. You're the first person on the show to ever say that. So that means you build credibility and reputation with people, and that's huge. Totally. Do you still cold call, prospect, any of that?
We don't. We've been able to, thank God, most agents, when they meet someone, most people like them, and we've been able to scale that experience. So most people know us.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Direct mail. Are you mailing past clients? Are you doing any geographical farming?
We're pretty much digital. Our CRM, even though we have our CRM, is our social media.
Awesome.
Love that.
No, that's too cool. And what's, if you don't mind me asking, what CRM are you using for just more of the bells and whistles of the contact?
Yeah, good question. So I've had like Chime, I've had Follow Up Boss, but being at Compass, and I know every brokerage is awesome, so I'm not going to like make this pitch about Compass. But what I do love about Compass is we have like, I think it's almost 900 software engineers. So like one of the things about our CRM is it's very, very easy. So like in the future, maybe not like in a few months, it'll be like Norman likes the Browns, but he doesn't live in Cleveland, and their team won the Super Bowl. And it'll notify me and say, hey, you might want to send Norman a t-shirt about the Cleveland Browns because his team won the Super Bowl yesterday. So like very, very in depth into that.
Well, if you ever do send a shirt, send it to me because I grew up in Cleveland. So
Nice.
That's awesome. Any time organization skills or project management software that you use in your real estate business?
You know what? I suck at that. Just keeping it real. I do manage things on my phone. I mean, I have a schedule and I know how to do it, but I'm probably like a 5 or 6 out of a 10. I could be so much better. But I think as I get older, and I'm sorry, I'm answering it in a very long way. Mm-hmm. I try and do things that I enjoy doing. And I don't like, for me, money, I want to make money, but that's not the most important thing. So I like doing things that I like to do so it doesn't seem like the time is wasted.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, we use Monday.com on our real estate team, but as you're more successful and the business is kind of coming to you, like those projects and that income production and like trying to scale, it's less about project organization then at that point, because it's more about client relations and continuing that business funnel.
I use Monday.com too.
Oh man, any new technology that you could share with our audience that you're trying or dabbling in or even maybe considering?
Yeah, so great question. And this isn't really technology. It's like a social media platform, Clubhouse. And so what I learned is this, when we're passionate about something, every one of us has like multiple streams of reasons why someone wants to do business with us. So like I mentioned, I love marketing. I'm an agent, but I love sports cards. So I created a group on Clubhouse, Sports Card Investors. And I have like maybe 43 or 4,500 members on it. And wow. These people are like, I got like Steve Aoki. He has like 9 million followers, and his only group on Clubhouse is my sports club, sports card club. So using Clubhouse to share my passion, to get closer to people, and also doing it for real estate as well.
Oh, that's that niching down is what really drives audience engagement, and I think you got that dialed in. Wow. I think I'm pretty good on questions, but the one tip I was going to leave with is, could you give everybody a tip on social media? Just like maybe like 1 minute, if you're an agent out there and maybe you're struggling to get followers or you're struggling on what to post, like what is your golden nugget for agents in social media?
Yeah, so what I would say quickly is to think like a consumer. No one really cares about your sale yesterday, but they care about the story of what happened, And I would say, think of yourself watching a Matt Damon movie and he picks up an iPhone. You're that product placement in the movie. You just happen to be in the story. And if you do it that way, if you pretend someone is Googling you, which they will every time, and see what shows up. And if it doesn't show that you're authentic, that you should share some failures, and that you also are decent at your job, then you're doing it wrong. Because if you do that, you'll win the game.
Yeah. I tried to have that feedback with one of my friends who's a big agent. And I was like, hey man, like everything you talk about is me, but there's nothing on your page that's real or raw. And he's like, yeah, man, I know it's the luxury price point. I'm trying to be somebody I'm not. So I see it. So,
we do luxury, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I get it. No, thank you, man. Really good round.
That's awesome. Thanks, Dan, for taking on that mix-up round. And very well said. I'm sure our viewers and listeners out there are going to be able to apply some amazing things to their business. I love your approach and everything that you're doing, Amit. I feel like it's just so informative, to the point, super simple, cut and dry. Like, take it or leave it. Here you go. You know, this is what I'm doing. So I have a couple last questions before we'll have the floor be open to you, so you can, like, anything that you want to put out there for our viewers and listeners that can take away from today's episode. As far as considering yourself an expert in any really area in real estate, have you ever dabbled in, I mean, so you say like your luxury is who you serve a lot of. So would you consider yourself like a luxury specific agent? Would that be where you have your authority and majority of your targeting is going towards?
So you know what, the better we market, it just happens that we get more luxury because people see us, sometimes athletes, celebrities, like what we do. And I met a celebrity, he was on Trulia and he did the search and he's like, hey, I love your video. And I'm like, you got like 10 million followers and you love my video, you know? But so I think the best thing I could say about me is I'm a good storyteller. And that creates the business.
I love that. And I think people forget to remember that some of the most richest, successful entrepreneurs and celebrities out there are some of the most humble, forthcoming, amazing people that have stories that's been through a lot, just like any other person. But you're not attracting them because you have a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. You're not attracting them because you have some perceived value of a reality that actually isn't the reality, which then you're pushing yourself further away than actually closer to. Like, I mean, you're so humble. You're like, you got 10,000 followers and you care about my video. Like, I love that. I just love that. So do you do anything buyer farm, seller farm? Do you even take that approach on a graphic, like on a geographical kind of like target?
So this is how I do it. So like I said, we have a small team. And I think the biggest mistake for team leaders is they think of reasons how to keep the people on their team from leaving their team. I think of the reasons how I can keep them on my team. So they do the listings, they do buyers. Every once in a while, I give them way more than they deserve. And maybe they deserve it, but they're not contracted that way. And I assume that one day they may leave. But if we could have a great time together and I can teach them everything that I know, and maybe I'll learn from them as well, and we'll enjoy it while it happens. And if it ends, it's okay.
Love that. That's awesome. So last question after me, your secret weapon. So if I was to hire you and your team to sell my home, how would you approach that? What would make me feel the confidence that you're the guy?
Okay, so I'm going to break this down and I'm going to do it quickly, as quick as I can. So this is what gets our listing sold. So the first thing I do is, say you live, Norman, you're going to sell your house. I look in your neighborhood. When I meet you, I'm going to spend 2 hours at least to find probably the last 20 or 25 buyers that bought in your neighborhood. This is sort of creepy. I'm going to like Google every single one of them. I'm going to create a buyer persona. I'm going to find out, okay, the average person that bought there was in their 40s, soccer moms and dads. They think they're hip. They like to drink wine when they get home. They feel like they're younger than they are. And I know that buyer persona. Next thing I do is I have our photographer take photos of the property. Then we take the photos with that buyer persona, send it to a professional writer. She's going to create sort of like a script of what's very engaging to this buyer persona. Then we're going to share that with that script or those remarks with our videographer. And then they're going to create a story about that property that is engaging to them. And then I'm going to go online and I'm going to share it in the best platforms and the best ways possible. And it's going to get your property sold.
Wow. That is the most methodical approach. Like, you're not just like manifesting and writing it down. You're like envisioning what it looks like So that way, I mean, the confidence level that I would have using your services, one, be a little creepy because I'm like, hold on, how are you getting this information? But two, give me the confidence because I'm like, okay, like I'm done. I'm not even going to question. Just do your thing, man. Just take out.
Man, cool. Yeah, there's a gentleman in LA, Case Real Estate. I don't know if you've ever followed him.
Yeah.
He does something very not as in depth as you, but you should connect with him because he's got those listing videos that you just like want to watch.
Wow.
You know, it's cool when you're gonna, because there are gonna be listing appointments that we get where that person tells us, the seller tells us, I'm gonna meet with 2 or 3 other agents, and and their word, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, their word is everything. They're going to meet with those people. So I ask them this. So I make it sort of entertaining, at least for me. I ask them, so in the last 6 months, how many people do you think bought a home in your neighborhood? So they say 20. I'm like, great guess, it's 24. And then I'd say, how many doctors, lawyers, attorneys, business owners do you think bought a property? And they'd give the number. I'd say, good guess. It was actually this, this, and this. And I'd say, so how many people do you think were local? How many people do you think bought from Chicago, Miami, whatever? And they guess. I say, okay, close. These are the real numbers. And I tell them, you know, I support your decision, whoever you work with in the future. But if you could do me this, if you could make me this one promise, and I think this will benefit you, the next agent that comes up with you, that speaks with you, ask them these questions. And if they don't know the answers, do you think they would know how to market to the right people that are going to sell your home? And you're gonna crush it.
Wow, man, geez. And with that type of knowledge, resources, and approach, it gives you so much more of an authority and confidence for that to be transferable to the person who wants to sell the home. So that's amazing. Last question, or like last part of the show, is just to open the floor, man. So the floor is yours. You know, what do you want viewers and listeners to know, take from this episode so they can potentially apply to their business, or what you have going on? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you. You know, I think I think we're very fortunate. We are very blessed to be in the business that we're in. And we're even more blessed that with technology, we don't even need to spend a dime. You know, you could be a brand new agent. So Jade on our team, she's 24 years old. Last year was her second full year in the business. She made 150,000, just under, from Instagram. She spent zero on advertising. Yeah, so thank God we're in this business. The last thing I'm going to say, and you'll probably see this after I'm on this, Gary Vee is a huge influencer of me, and Curator of the company is a marketing company that is very influential to me. And I've been blessed to be in a conference in April that I'm going to be doing with Gary Vee. And I'm not, believe me, I'm just using his name. I'm going to be one of the 20 other agents. I'm nothing special. I'm just at this conference. But I'm going to break down more about how to get the listing sold based on what I told you. And because I'm sure people have questions, they're going to be like, oh, well, how does he get the info? How does he do this? How does he do that? So I'm going to break that down. It's going to be recorded, and hopefully you watch it, because I know it'll make you at least 6 figures of income, if not more.
I love that, Amith. What I'll do is we'll make sure that we'll put the link down below. We're about 8 to 10 weeks out. When the episode goes live, we'll go ahead and make sure to get that out there for you so we can make that happen. And man, what an amazing episode. We really appreciate your time, and we really, really hope that our viewers and listeners can take this information and have more success with it. So Amit, like vomit. You told me to I remembered it. Thank you for being on Real Estate vs. Tech. I appreciate you. Dan.
Thanks so much.
Of course. Yeah. Dan, thanks so much for co-hosting.
Yeah.
And thanks to our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention for you to take some from our episodes and have more massive success, and we will. See you on the next one. And made it to the end. Well, thank you so much for watching Real Estate vs. Technology. We hope you found value, especially something you can apply to your real estate business. If you could do us a favor, we would appreciate it. A thumbs up. If you subscribe, hit the notification bell, you'll be notified for new episodes coming out, and comment below. What the heck did you learn? If you want to join our Facebook group page, there's a link right here. And if you want to be featured on Real Estate vs. Technology, send us a DM on our Instagram page. We'll see if we get you on the show. So, take care. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.